Now with John Hanna, who joins us, senior fellow at the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, but among many other positions throughout his career, John served as Vice President Cheney's National Security Advisor. It's good to see you, John. And why don't I actually play a clip from Prime Minister Netanyahu to start us off to Robert's reporting there. You know, the outrage is understandable, I think, after what we've seen over the last couple of days. Here's how the Prime Minister articulated that.
These Hamas monsters also cynically refused to bring back the boy's mother, Shiri, and sent the body of a Gazan woman instead, in brazen violation of the agreement. All of Israel is united in grief. And as the Prime Minister of Israel, I vow that I will not rest until the savages who executed our hostages are brought to justice. They do not deserve to walk this earth. Nothing will stop me. Nothing.
What do you think's next here, John? I mean, the idea of talking about phases of a ceasefire, you think there's anything to that?
Well, clearly we got to get through tomorrow, Connell, and Israel's, I think, determined to get as many live hostages back as they can. I think the entire society, the IDF, feel an enormous sense of obligation and guilt for what happened on October 7th and their failure to do what they're committed to do, which is to protect those people who live close to that Gaza border. After that, I think it's, you know, all bets are off. I think you still got more than 20 live hostages, soldiers, who Israeli society has that same commitment to, that they're going to want to get out. But the price could be, at least for the foreseeable future, or agreeing to end this war and get out of Gaza and leave Hamas, at least for the moment, intact. And that's a excruciating decision, I think, for all Israelis.
You think Netanyahu would do that? You know, Hamas, throughout all of this, we showed some of the video of that, just this disgusting display they've had this week. They put like a statement out trying to explain how this might have been the wrong body. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but on part of it, they said that there was the possibility it was just an error in the overlap of the remains resulting from the bombing of the Israelis, essentially. It's at the end of the statement. So, but you think Netanyahu would do that? You leave Hamas in power? He's talked from day one. He's talked about "quote unquote" elimination of Hamas, and now we have this.
Yeah, no, I think it's just a question of the timing. When do you go back in? Do you try and get everybody out dead and alive first by agreeing that you're going to have a permanent ceasefire? And then, listen, Israel's got a lot of other business, Connell, beyond Gaza. They've got to go to the head of the snake and get the Iranians while the Iranians are weak. And believe me, that's very much on their agenda. And they're going to need most of the IDF to do that. So whether or not they go and get Iran first, and then once they've got all their hostages back, with the Iranian main chief sponsor in Tehran dramatically weakened, then going back and getting Hamas when the IDF ground forces are more ready and capable and rested, we'll just have to see. But I think this account with Hamas, one way or another, whether it's another month or another 6 months, Israel's going to close that account.
And what role, John, do you think President Trump will play in all this?
Well, I think right now the president is in the posture. He's as horrified as everybody else was. Right. He obviously feels a debt, and the hostages are appealing to him, the hostage families. Please get everybody back. Do whatever you can to get everybody back. And I think that's the position of probably 60 or 70% of Israeli society, that these pictures, these horrific pictures coming out of these handover of hostages and bodies, has only made people more committed that we've got to get everybody out as soon as possible. They don't have any real time left. And I think the president's attitude is this is an excruciating call for Israel and its elected government to make, whether or not they're going to go to phase 2 and get these people out, or they're going to go back in very quickly and try and wipe out Hamas as soon as possible.
All right, John. John Hanna, thanks a lot for coming on today. It's good to see you.